Okay, and now you're ready to know what you need to do to get ready for your young audience's audition. And these are just some top 10 tips I put together to just help people out as we've gone through many years of watching and reviewing different artist assemblies. My first tip is start with the art. Don't start by talking. The best way to grab the kids' attention is to get up there and play your music or start acting, even if it's just for 5 minutes, and then you can do a little intro. I find it's always better to start with the art.
Please start with the art. We've all been there where we've sat in an auditorium and somebody comes out and just starts talking and then everybody's asleep. If we're, as adults, can't stay awake, imagine students. So please, start with the art.
Yes. I think that goes with number 2, because what we want is an authentic artistic experience. This is not lecture demo. We are not a public speaking or motivational speaker organization. We're about giving our kids an authentic artistic experience. That is how Young Audiences started, and that is something we really want to stay true to in our mission. So at least 25 or more of your 45-minute presentation should be an artistic performance.
Number 3, include the audience as much as possible. This should be an interactive experience, not just a time to watch and clap very politely at the end or something. So Pat, what are some different ways that you've seen people incorporate artists?
Thank you. This is actually something I've seen that some great opportunities where some artists just forget to think about ways they include the students. This is something to make it more age appropriate because little ones want to be included. You can have them repeat an important word. It's always a good idea to say that word if it's a different vocabulary word than you think the kids are used to. Say it again or ask them to repeat it with you. Sometimes artists don't want them to clap along. Maybe they can snap along instead of clap along. They could stomp their feet or
do
sing
a silent
along.
dance move.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
You need to be quiet. And another way to use the audience is to actually bring volunteers up on stage.
That's always a good idea.
I've been to assemblies where I've seen somebody say, I need 5 volunteers, and then all of a sudden 50 kids are running up to the stage at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So to avoid that, one good way is to ask teachers to choose the volunteers for you.
And with the teachers, you want them to pick one, or tell them a specific number, because I've seen the same thing happen, even with the teachers picking, because you say, I need 5 volunteers. Teachers, can you give me 5 volunteers? Then you have 5 teachers giving you 5 volunteers each. So you just need to think about and plan what you need and be clear in your instructions. It's always good to have the teachers select, if you can, because they know which ones are the ones that are going to do a good job, that are not going to be afraid to be up there on the stage, and they know the ones that maybe might be raising their hand but then will be too shy to participate. So it's something that it also gets the teachers more involved in participating in the program.
It also helps avoid that scenario where kids are sad that you didn't pick them. So if you're not picking them, teachers are picking them, then you don't have to worry about that anymore.
Number 5, make sure it's age appropriate. You will hopefully have the grades grouped together. Normally that's the case, where you'll have pre-K, pre-kindergarten, up to 2nd grade in one audience, but then after that 45-minute show is over, you'll have another group of 3rd through 5th grade audience, or a 6th through 8th grade audience. And you need to think about how can you adjust your show for those different audiences. That is one of the biggest pieces of feedback that we get from the schools, is when they see the same exact show for the kindergartners as happening for 5th graders. So think about what vocabulary words you would use, what questions you might change, how can you make it more age appropriate, and we can help you with that.
Number 6, use visuals. Visuals are an important part of any sort of performance, and it also helps us make sure that we can address all types of learning styles, right? So not everybody's auditory. Some people need to see stuff up on the stage to understand the concepts and the vocabulary. So if that means finding your visual artist friend or coming to the Young Audiences office and stealing some of our visual artists, making chart papers, using easel boards, Some artists are even starting to use, digital media, so projections and things like that. Just remember, if you're going to use technology like that, you need to be able to bring that with you, because
Yes.
you can't assume that the school is going to have that, and even if they do, they might not know how to work it, or it might be broken. So if you want to go that route, just make sure that you can be self-sufficient and bring those visuals with you.
That's a great point, and you should do that with your sound as well. You need to be self-sufficient. You cannot assume that the schools will have it, and many times when they do have it, it's not a very good sound system. So you should try to be self-sufficient, be there early to check in and make sure you have everything working, that the electric outlet that's on the stage is working, and that you have tried it all out. And that actually speaks to number 7, practice, practice, practice. This should not be your first rodeo. We want to see a polished performance for your audition for young audiences. Many artists have been doing this for years before they come to us. It takes at least a year to really create a performance and have it ready for our roster. So if you can you have to start by giving it away from free, and this is actually advice that we've received from the teaching artists themselves, that this is how they were able to really have an excellent performance, is by doing it for church groups, for daycares, for libraries, and having that opportunity before they bring it to us. It's very important because we really invest a lot of time in auditioning the programs, and you will see through our timeline that it takes time. If you don't pass the first audition, you'll have to wait several months before you can audition for us again. So it's a good idea to take this time to practice and get it right so that you're ready for our audition date.
Yeah, each year we get 30, 40, 50 applications for the roster, and believe it or not, we have people that come to the audition and it's the first time they've ever done it. And obviously we don't want that for our students. We feel like our students deserve the best. And so please do it however you can, wherever you can. Go to the Inner Harbor and do it on that little amphitheater out there. Wherever you need to make sure you have it down pat.
And just a little tip as a teacher, don't tell them, you have to teach them. And that can mean many different things. But one common error we see is when artists go up there and they are doing something that's very informational, but they're just kind of lecturing. Again, this is not a lecture demo. You need to think about what questions you can ask, how can you access the kids' knowledge, previous knowledge, how can you connect it to something the kids will understand in their lives. Think about a story or a metaphor, something you can use to teach the students. It's always better to do it in context. So if you're talking about a song, maybe have them listen for specific things, play the song, and then afterwards ask the kids what did they hear, or what did they see, what did they imagine when they listened to that song. Think about ways that you can do active learning, not just lecturing.
Number 9, have a clear overarching goal or message for your program. I feel like this, for me, this question actually comes at the very beginning of the process and also towards the end of the process when you're perfecting your assembly. Most people probably want to think prior to developing their assembly, why do you want to do this, right? Why do you want to do this type of work, and why do you think it's important to bring it into schools? And then as you're developing your assembly, and you'll see when you get to the application process and we ask you to give us a template outline of your assembly, that one of the things we're going to ask you for is what your overarching goal is. And we base a lot of our feedback and a lot of our support to our artists on those goals and helping our artists achieve those goals. So why is it important? What do you want students to know after leaving the performance? What's their takeaway? So make sure you know what these things are, what you want your end result to be, so that you can make sure to develop the program around that so that you can achieve those goals.
Great, and then finally end with the art. Q&A is always a great way to assess the students, see if they got it, see if they figured out what your overarching goal was. But it's not always the best way to end a performance. So after the Q&A, end with a bang. Even if it's just a quick 2-minute song or a quick 2-minute theatrical piece, you want them to walk away with that artistic experience in their mind. It's always a better way to end than just with the Q&A. But obviously you want to build that into your 45-minute time. Teachers love to have that, and we will also be talking about teacher guides later once you sign on to the program.
The,